Coach Prime, Auburn fired the coach. And of course, Coach Prime's name is being attached to the job. And he actually addressed it. Let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the JeffLightsyJr. YouTube on Victory Formation show right here on JeffLightsyJr. YouTube. We're on a quest to get more members, get members to the channel, to support the channel. We're giving big giveaways at the end of November. So we'll come Christmas times, we'll have giveaways only for members. So if you want to join and get in on the giveaways, hit the membership button, hit that subscribe button. We want to roll to 10K. Y'all surpassed the goal. We got 5K. Now we're looking to double it, get 10K. So hit that subscribe button, continue to like the page. Now, and thank you all for the current support. Shout out to you guys. You guys have been awesome. But we're here today to talk about Coach Prime in Auburn, right? It's been a foregone conclusion. Auburn has went ahead and fired their coach. He was there less than 3 years. They're paying him a big buyout. I think the buyout's of $15 million. And I think they have to pay, from the things that I've read, the reports that I've seen, they have to pay him his $15 million in the next 30 days. So young Brian Harrison, best of luck to you. He's gone about his way. He's $15 million richer. He don't have to coach anymore. But now, of course, the name of none other than Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, in Jackson State, 8-0. They're balling out of control. They just had a 35-0 victory after College Game Day visited the Tigers. And now his name is floating around Auburn again. It happened a month ago. I brought you the video. I showed you how ESPN has a narrative and how ESPN wants Deion Sanders to coach in the SEC. ESPN, they're going full force on getting Deion Sanders to the SEC. I proved that. I debunked that. I showed you guys that a month ago. Well, now that the Auburn job is active, and that was before the job was open. Think about it. The man just got fired this week, and that was before the job was open, and they was pushing the narrative of getting Deion Sanders to Auburn. And so now I want to show you guys a couple of things, because this is what I do. I go and I look and I find stuff that you may or may not find interesting. So what I did was, with the Auburn job being open, I just Googled Deion Sanders Auburn just to see what would pop up. And this are the results of the Google search. Despite dysfunction, Auburn job, a really good one, expected to draw interest. And you see pictures of Lane Kiffin, none other than Coach Prime in the middle. And actually, that's Lincoln Riley, I think. That's Hugh Freeze out at Liberty. Then over is Fox Sports. Top Auburn coaching candidates: Deion Sanders, Lane Kiffin, and more. Sports Illustrated, coaches who surely to be among Auburn's list of candidates. And obviously, Deion Sanders' name has to be in there because they have it pop up when you Google his name. The Clarion Ledger, Deion Sanders has heard from the Tigers, but the Auburn Tigers, ? And if you go to more news, you see all these Coach Prime pictures with Auburn. That's Clutch Sports. Hell, that was an hour ago. Brian Harrison out. Deion Sanders could be in. That was in the last 24 hours. Auburn, Deion Sanders, HBCU. Who will target Cam Newton? Actually, I think that article is referencing my thing. That's actually funny. So yeah, a lot of Deion Sanders to Auburn talk just on Google. Simple Google search, right? It's easy. It's the talk of the town. Auburn, they want everything to do, well, at least the Auburn fans. And here's the thing, and I'm going to debunk why I don't think it'll happen, right? But the Auburn fan base, and because of the popularity, because of the success, recruiting and on the field, because of the swag, because of everything that Coach Prime has brought to JSU, brought to HBCU culture, brought to Jackson State, to Jackson, Mississippi, folks think you can just duplicate that and replicate that at a school like Auburn. And to me, that's not realistic. But but before I dive into that, I want to show you guys some more stuff. So the Google search showed you what pops up when you type in Deion Sanders and Auburn. Now, to go to the biggest search engine in the world, YouTube. Let's see what that shows. Look, in the last 24 hours. Now, you can think about this. All of these things came out in the last 24 hours. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. That's ESPN. Is Deion Sanders replacing Brian Harrison at Auburn a real possibility? You got USA Today. Bo Jackson explains why Deion Sanders is a good fit at Auburn. You got 24/7, the last 24 hours. Who Saves Auburn with a picture of Lane Kiffin and Deion Sanders. Another ESPN, which is Paul Feinbaum. Second segment with KJM and got Paul Feinbaum talking about Deion Sanders to Auburn. You got Rich Eisen, which is Prime's friend. They work together at the NFL Network. He's been on the show multiple times. Should Auburn pursue Deion Sanders? Like, so you get all this stuff, more power. And that was the video we originally showed a month ago. Paul Feinbaum pushing the narrative of Deion Sanders to Auburn. And then all of this other stuff. Look, you got The Volume, which is Fox Sports. Auburn finds Brian Harrison, Deion Sanders, and Lane Kiffin. So you get all this stuff, man. Deion Sanders to Auburn on YouTube, on Google, all that different stuff, all those different platforms, trying to push the narrative of Coach Prime to Auburn. So there's a couple, and I don't want to further explain this because I've done this once already, but I do want to get into the nitty-gritty. ESPN wants Prime at Auburn. They want him in the SEC. They don't care if it's Auburn, Alabama, Florida. They don't give a damn. They want him in the SEC. Why? Because ESPN owns the media rights for the SEC. They want Deion Sanders is prime time, literally. He's not just Coach Prime. He's actual prime time box office. He gets ratings. His team seemed to be really good, really fast. He can recruit his tail off. He gives you great sound bites. You guys know this. I don't have to tell you this, and I've already explained that in depth. Now, why do the fans want Prime at Auburn? Well, as you saw, and you guys see it every day and every week, not just on the field, but following the social media and things like that. I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but you guys know what Prime brings to a program. And for the Auburn fans, you know, they might not see that on the everyday basis, but they damn sure saw it on College Game Day. They saw him go out there, put on a show. They saw the crowd reaction to him being there. They see the hysteria that obviously they saw when Travis Hunter flipped and played for JSU. And then they saw him go out there and beat, curb stop Southern 35-0 in a torrential downpour for a lot of the game. So that's what they see. They see the fanfare, right? And they see the fun, the swag, the attitude, and the winning. None of the swag, the attitude, the cool stuff, the recruiting, none of that matters if you're not winning. And Prime's got a SWAC championship in his back pocket. He's got a Coach of the Year, both FCS and SWAC Coach of the Year. And he's 8-0 for the first time in school history. And he brings in the highest rated recruiting class in FCS history, period, point blank, period, including getting the #1 player in the country to come to Jackson State, something we hadn't seen in the history of modern day recruiting, right? So when you see the fanfare and you add that to it, you're like, yo, come to our school, right? We have better resources. We have more money. We have more tradition, right? On the Power 5 level, et cetera, et cetera. The only problem is, and it's a major problem, do the Auburn administration, boosters, athletic directors, and the people that really matter really want Deion Sanders? Like, think about this. Do they really want Deion Sanders? Like, really want Deion Sanders? Well, first of all, there hasn't been, like, Auburn is in what's known as the Southeastern Athletic Conference. Southeastern, well, that's the SWAC, Southwestern Athletic Conference, but the SEC. In the history of the SEC, there's been like 3 or 4 black coaches. There's only been like 3 or 4 black coaches. There was the coach at Mississippi State. There was Derek Mason at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's had a couple of them. They had Derek Mason and James Franklin. There's currently not a black coach in the SEC right now. And Derek Mason was a flameout. He got fired at Vanderbilt. James Franklin left Vanderbilt to go to Penn State. And then the coach from Mississippi State, his name's escaping me. You guys will tell me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure he got fired too. So the SEC doesn't have this glorious track record of hiring black men as their head coaches. Now, they get a whole lot of black players to come play for them, really good ones at that, specifically at Auburn. Cam Newton went to Auburn. Bo Jackson went to Auburn. They don't got a great history of black coaches. And so I say that to say this. Jackson State is located in Jackson, Mississippi, one of the biggest cities with the highest rate of black people. It's a lot of black people in Jackson, Mississippi. Like Detroit's got a lot, Atlanta's got a lot, Jackson, Mississippi's got a whole lot. And there's a whole lot in the major cities in the South, right? Like a whole lot in the Birminghams and the Montgomerys and et cetera, et cetera. Where there isn't a whole lot of black people is Auburn, Alabama. At least not high-ranking black folks. Now think about this. Do the high-ranking people that run the University of Auburn or Auburn University, whatever it's called, do they really want Deion Sanders and his gold whistles and his gold chains and his rapper buddies, Snoop Dogg and Fredo Bang and NLE Choppa and Key Glock and Rick Ross and the cast of P Valley, do they really want those people on their sidelines? Do they really want those interests with those people? Will they give Deion Sanders the free reign to do the things that he does currently at Jackson State? And then let's be honest, it's the SEC. It's hard as hell. Like, the teams in the SEC are really freaking good. Tennessee is outstanding. Georgia is outstanding. Alabama, they're the cream of the crop. They're the class act. They're the team to beat every single year. They're really good teams there. And so you're going to be playing catch up. That's why Auburn's had 2 coaches in the last 3 years. So you're playing catch up to get up to some of those teams. Arkansas is actually really good. Ole Miss is really good. Kentucky is freaking good, right? Vanderbilt is climbing up the ranks. And so the process at Auburn will more likely take a lot longer than the process took at Jackson State, where Prime was able to go out and get high level. What a lot of people accredited him getting the players, and of course the players are what matter. But what Prime did was go out and establish an elite staff. Getting Dennis Thurman, he's the best assistant coach in the entire FCS. I'm willing to stand on that. Dennis Thurman is the best assistant coach in all of FCS. And the beautiful thing about Prime is it doesn't look like, I don't know, but it doesn't look as if Dennis Thurman wants to be a head coach. And I'm pretty sure Dennis Thurman said on one of the episodes of Coach Prime on Barstool, I think he said he didn't want to be a head coach. So the beautiful thing about Prime is, as long as he's coaching, and he looks even specifically as long as he's coaching at Jackson State, Dennis Thurman's good about being his DC. And so you will always have the best DC in all of FCS football. So that's a luxury that he has. He established a great staff. And then even when the staff was winning, even when the staff was doing a good job, he still went out and made upgrades. And he still thought unorthodoxly, went outside the box and got a guy like Brett Bartoloni. Now they have the best offense in the entire conference. And one of the best in all of FCS, because you knew Thurman, and then of course the players, right? He goes out and gets a lot of good players: the Aubrey Millers, the Travis Hunters, the Shador Sanders, the Savion Wilkersons, etc., etc. The offensive line, we can't forget about them. The D line, can't forget about those guys. So of course he goes out and gets the players. But I saw Stephen Gaither, shout out to Stephen Gaither, HBCU Game Day. I saw him tweet something that's really, really relevant. And that makes a lot of sense. And I want to pull it up so that way you guys know I'm accrediting who actually said it. But it made a whole lot of sense. He said, and let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll read it together. But this came from Stephen Gaither. It says, so if Auburn did hire Deion Sanders, how many losses in a row do you think it would take before the boosters blame all the black folks coming into the locker room as being distractions? Think about that, guys. This is Auburn. Auburn ain't never had no black coach. The most black Auburn's ever had was the players on the field. The Cam Newtons, the Bo Jacksons, the Trey Masons, those guys, the Nick Fairleys. They ain't never had no dude that looked like Prime. They ain't never had no dude that acted cordial and like relatively what is the word I'm looking for? What is the word? Like uptight, right? Like by the book. They never hired a black man as their head coach that went by the book. And you mean to tell me you're going to bypass the black man that goes by the book to go get Prime to run Auburn? Think about what I'm saying. You've never hired an upstanding citizen as a black man to be your head coach at Auburn. Hell, at most of the schools in the SEC. Like I said, I think it's only been about 4 in the history of the entire conference. 4 black coaches. The one Mississippi State that I keep losing his name. 2 at Vanderbilt, Franklin and Mason. And didn't Florida have one? No, Joker Phillips at Kentucky. Joker Phillips at Kentucky. The 2 at Vanderbilt. And you're gonna bypass those guys and go get Prime? Because you know what comes with Prime. Prime ain't changing for nobody. He's not gonna be him for 50 plus years and all of a sudden change and start shaking your hand and hey, how's it going, buddy? No, he's gonna be prime. The same prime that you see on Saturdays at the vet, 50,000 deep, that's dancing, that's going crazy, that's turned up, that's lit, that's live. That's the guy that you're getting. That's the guy that you say, or at least your fans say, you want to bring to your program. But those are the same kind of guys that the people in the SEC or that cover the SEC are going to be saying, oh, it's too many distractions. Oh, he's too focused on social media. Oh, he's too busy trying to kick it with the rappers and not coaching. That's why Auburn is 4-4 on the season. No, you're 4-4 on the season because you got to play Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, Ole Miss. You got to play all those teams every year. That's why you're 4-4. LSU. So I'm giving the long-winded answer. I'm giving a circle-around answer. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Will Prime end up at Auburn? The answer is no. Because rural Alabama at an SEC school like Auburn, they aren't ready to have a coach like Deion Sanders. Really? Them? They fire coaches that win championships. They fire coaches that go to championships. Gene Chizik, Gus Malzahn. They fire those guys. You think they want Deion Sanders? Who's going to be the epitome, the epitome of black culture at your school in rural Alabama at Auburn? Yeah, it's cute and cool when Charles Barkley shows up to basketball games and football games and hypes up the crowd, and Cam Newton shows up to football games and basketball games, and Bo Jackson, and they don't really be showing up a whole lot. But when he decides to step out, it's cool to interact with them for a few hours. It's cool to have them around for a day or two. But you want what's happening at Jackson State to happen at Auburn? You really want that? Like you really want Deion Jr. going around filming everything? You really want Neely and Bishop going around? Well, they DSU people. But you give me the version of Neely and Bishop going around filming everything? You want NLE Chopper in your locker room? Rest in peace, Young Dolph in your locker room? Fredo Bang in your locker room? You want that? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you do. I would be shocked if you do. But you know who does want it? Jackson State. Hell, Jackson State love it. They love it. They celebrate it as they should. They celebrate it. They embrace it. They take it in because they know what it is. Because it is them. They're not faking it. It's not a facade. And at Auburn, it'd be a facade. It'd be fake. It wouldn't be natural. It'd be unreal. But at Jackson State, it's embedded in the culture. At Jackson State, that is what it is. That's how those people live. At Jackson State, that's who they go home and listen to. At Jackson State, that's what they do. At Jackson State, that's what the boom is going to be playing. At Auburn, not so much. So that's why this Auburn thing is just a thing. It's just that, a thing. It's not something that I think is real. It's not something that I think will happen. And Prime actually addressed it. Let me go ahead and go to that. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, guys. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all tuning in, man. We coming in here. My YouTube finally messing with me again. So we finally got some stuff going on, some good stuff going on. And I want y'all to join memberships. We need members to support the channel. Continue to support the channel because you guys have been awesome. But here's the video of Prime. This is courtesy. Oh, shoot. This is courtesy of the pregame show. Shout out to the pregame show. I actually just mentioned Bishop and Neely. This is courtesy of the pregame show. They asked Prime, which I guess you have to do your job. You have to ask because they've done. I mean, we just showed the Google searches. We just showed the YouTube searches. I guess you do have to ask him about this stuff since his name continues to be brought up. But here's Prime addressing his name being floated around the Auburn job after Auburn decided to fire their head coach. Let's take a listen.
Coach, obviously, Auburn job opened earlier this week. Have you heard from the Tigers at all? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, so the reporter, just in case you can't hear because it's kind of low, the reporter asked, hey, coach, the Auburn job has opened up recently. Have you heard from the Tigers at all? Let's take a listen to what Prime had to say. It's actually kind of funny.
Auburn job opened earlier this you heard from the Tigers at all, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've heard from the Tigers. Jackson State Tigers. Oh, I thought you were talking about Jackson State. My bad. Sorry, fraudulent slip.
And what's funny is, I mean, I guess the reporter, you kind of, I guess he thought it was his job to ask. But even if Prime had heard from Auburn, he can't even tell you that. He can't even tell you that. But let's continue listening.
How do you deal with, constantly kind of seeing that in the headlines?
My name has been attached to many things in life. Also, a whole lot of headlines. So this ain't new to me. I'm good. I just got to make sure our coaches stay locked in and focused as well as the kids. But attention and exposure, I'm not new to this.
Yeah, so that's Prime responding to his name being floated around, all the Auburn rumors, all the stuff. And like I said, ESPN, as you see, they posted multiple Deion Sanders to Auburn videos on their platforms over the last 24 hours, right? They have a vested interest in Deion Sanders becoming the next head coach of Auburn. Like ESPN is in bed with the SEC. They pay the SEC $1 billion. Like they're in $1 billion a year to broadcast their games. So of course they want Deion Sanders because they believe Deion Sanders, as he would, boost the ratings, continue to help the ratings grow and propel. So they have a vested interest in seeing him jump ship from Jackson State to Auburn, right? They're not paying the SWAC anything. They're paying the SEC a whole lot of money. So they would love to see Deion Sanders at Auburn. But could Deion Sanders be Deion Sanders at Auburn? Like, could he be 100% himself as the head coach at Auburn? And the answer is no, he couldn't. He couldn't be Coach Prime at Auburn. He would have to be Coach Sanders or Coach Deion Sanders at Auburn. He would be the little brother to Nick Saban. And even if he came in there and was able to start beating Saban, and I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm not saying his coaching ability isn't able to do that. It's just that I think a piece of us would die a little bit if Coach Prime left Jackson State to go to Auburn. I think it would, because it just wouldn't be the same. There's just no way it could be the same. Folks saying, oh, he's never changed for anything. Well, the difference between when he was a player doing what he did and being the head coach is totally different. You get what I'm saying? The player Deion Sanders could be Deion Sanders because he was just a player. He wasn't the face of the organization. He wasn't the quarterback. He wasn't the face. And he was damn good at what he did, too. It wasn't much you could say to him as a player. You know why? Because he was freaking good at what he did. He was there, not just good. He was the best at what he did. The best, right? And jumping into the SEC, you're not going to be the very best. You're not. You're not going to be the very best immediately when you jump into the SEC. And as you see, these places have quick leashes. Brian Harsin was there less than 3 years, and he's gone. And they're willing to pay that buyout, $15 million. They're willing to pay Gus Malzahn's buyout. They had to pay him, I think, like $50 million. Like, they're willing to get rid of you really fast. Whereas Jackson State, you create the culture. Auburn, the culture's already set for the most part, right? The SEC, the culture's already set for the most part. Jackson State, you create the culture. In Jackson State, you are the culture. Deion Sanders is Black culture. Deion Sanders is Black excellence. Deion Sanders is Black history. Deion Sanders is Jackson State. He is. Deion Sanders is SWAC. Who ain't SWAC? He's SWAC. It's not Auburn. It's just not. It wouldn't be the same, man. It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. It's so much better him doing it at JSU as opposed to doing it at Auburn. It's just how I feel, man. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And please, let's continue to help the channel grow. We're at 5,000. We're on the road to 10,000. Become a member of the channel. We have some giveaways all November. I'm going to be pushing membership to the channel. So continue to become a member. For the members, we're going to do a special giveaway at the end of November. Christmas, it's going to be Christmas time. I know you guys got some things, gifts and stuff. I want to bless you. So I want to bless you come Christmas, Christmas time in December, the start of December, because we're at the start of November. But come December, I'm going to bless you as far as the members. But members only are going to get that blessing. So hit the membership button, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10K because we got 5. We checked it off the box. You guys have been excellent. Hit that 10. Let's get to 10. We're on the road to 10. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr. This is Victory Formation. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And Coach Prime, he going to be with us at JSU for a while. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.